we already had the introduction of what is an ODL program with Prof. Razan from USIM. Okay, he had elaborated very well what is an ODL program, in which it is not necessarily a fully online program, although it may be happen in that way. He also had shared important tips on how to develop the program and touch a little bit on the MQAO1. In continuation of the previous session, today we are very honored to have another expert of ODL, Associate Professor Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden from University Science Malaysia. Before we start the session, let me briefly introduce our guest speaker's background. Okay, Associate Professor Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden is a senior lecturer in School of Educational Studies, University Science Malaysia. She is currently the Deputy Director of the Center for Development of Academic Excellence, CDAE-SM. Her research interests are in the area of instructional design, e-learning and m-learning, educational technology, ICT and multimedia, and 21st century learning. As a national e-learning master trainer, she conducts trainings to lecturers or educators in the area of instructional design, e-learning approaches and tools, as well as new approaches of teaching and learning nationally and internationally. Dr. Azidah was the recipient for the prestigious Anugerah Akademik Negara, or in short AAN, in 2017 for Anugerah Pengajaran. She was also the recipient of the Gold Award for Best Learning Model, Blended Learning in LearnX Impact Award in 2018 in Melbourne, Australia. Dr. Azidah has been appointed as the MQA assessor in the area of ICT, multimedia, and ODL since 2012. Because of her background, we invited her to share her knowledge on how to prepare MQAO1 document for ODL program applications. Okay, just to let everyone know that this session will be recorded and is conducted live through PKPKA FB. Before we start the session, I would like to remind all the audience, if you have any question, you may ask directly to the speaker by unmuted your mic, or you may drop the question in the chat box. Please state question before you write your query to allow me differentiating comments and questions. Okay, without further ado, I hand over the session to the speaker. Dr. Azidah, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rahimah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, everybody. Alhamdulillah, I'm here today to share with you all about the MQA01 for Open Distance Learning, ODL. Okay, for your information, like Dr. Rahmas mentioned just now, I've been doing this since 2012, all right? And then it is my pleasure to share with you all about MQA01. However, I think that, you know, giving talk or giving a session on quality is much more boring compared to, you know, when I give talk about teaching and learning and so on. So bear with me, okay, in this session, all right? However, please do ask questions, okay? Please do ask questions while I'm giving the talk, all right? So if you have any queries, just unmute your mic and ask question, or if you don't want to unmute your mic, just put it in the chat box, okay? I will check the chat box regularly, all right? Okay, so for this session, I'm going to refer to the document Code of Practice for Program Accreditation for Open and Distance Learning COPA ODL. So as Dr. Rahma mentioned just now, okay, you had a session with Prof. Zahan last week, which was actually he used to be in USM in our school of distance education. He was the expert in ODL as well, all right. But for this session, I'm going to focus on MQA01 as well as how it can be elaborated, or how can you use the code of practice for program accreditation, COPA, COPA for ODL. All right. So whatever I'm going to share with you all are based on COPA. So it's very technical. However, we are going to make it much more simpler so that you will understand. If let's say you are a head of department and you would like to develop new program on ODL, or you are going to look at your existing program to become ODL, and this is a session for you. All right. So for today's session, first I'm going to have an overview of COPA ODL. All right, just a general overview of COPA ODL, and then we are going to look at the requirement of MQA01. Okay, before you are going to look at MQA01, you need to study first the COPA ODL so that you are well versed of COPA ODL and you know what to do, okay, for your ODL program. Okay, and then we are going to try map sections 2, 3, and 6. Okay, there will be 7 sections in MQA01. And then the most important thing in ODL, in doing MQA01 for ODL is the mapping between section 2, 3, and 6. Okay, that is the most important part. All right, and then the Q&A will be, you can ask me questions during the session. So this is the sessions that I have planned for today's session, yeah? All right. So, I'm talking today as an ODL assessor for MQA. So this week, not this week, last week I have been auditing 2 ODL application, yeah, for provisional accreditation, whereby I have 2 applications from non-ODL institution. All right, so we have ODL institution who are actually well versed of ODL because they are doing it, that is their main business. All right, however, like UMS, you are a non-ODL institution whereby ODL is not your main business. You have been doing conventional teaching and learning, conventional delivery, as well as blended learning. But I think during this pandemic COVID-19, since April 2020, we, the non-ODL institution, have been embarking on the fully online, almost like fully online, because we have been teaching online all the time until now. All right. Okay. So for today, it is non-ODL institutions, but I will touch some of the ODL institutions to compare, all right, how they do their ODL delivery compared to us, which is non-ODL institution who have different way in looking at ODL. Okay. All right. First, in ODL program, I am an assessor, right? So when I'm looking at non-ODL institution, first, I'm looking at readiness to embark on ODL. Okay, so do you think UMS, for example, is ready to embark on open distance learning? Do you think you are ready? So How do you know you are ready? First, we are going to look at your program. For example, you are from health program, okay? Health PTJ. All right, so is your program ready to embark on the ODL program? Okay, based on your experience last week with Prof. Rosehan, where have you think about, okay, is my program ready to be in the ODL program? Okay. Secondly, your academic staff or you as academic staff, are you ready to embark on ODL? All right. So I think after April 2020, okay, we have been struggling for a few months to embark on the online learning. However, I think for most HEP, higher education provider, now we are quite comfortable with online learning. Okay, nak tak nak, we have been doing the online learning and we have to cope and we have to do intervention, and Alhamdulillah, I think most of the university awam, the UAs, comfortable, okay lah kan, with the online learning. So should we, I hope that the staff, academic staff are ready to embark on ODL as well. All right. And then the students, all right. Are your prospective students are ready to embark on ODL? Okay, you must have a look, you must, the department must look at how your prospective student are ready for ODL. Can they learn your program? Can they do the program online? Okay, for example, health. Okay, will they be able to fulfill the requirement of your program via ODL? So you, as a program provider, need to be able to justify that. Okay, my students should be okay, in doing their learning via ODL. Also, your support, the support staff, okay, the technical support and so on, are they ready? Okay, do you have ample support in your department, okay, within your department? So these should be a very important measures, okay, in your readiness to embark on ODL. Why? Because, okay, if the program ready, academic staff ready, students ready, but if you don't have full support from your technical team, all right, your support staff, all right, then the ODL program should not be started lah. All right, so meaning that this particular environment, okay, program, academic staff, students and support will be an important measures for you to know whether you are ready to embark on ODL. Your program is ready or not, all right? So, okay, so I think that you already know what is open distance learning, okay, from your session from Prof. Rosehan last week. However, these descriptions come from COPA ODL, yeah? Okay, I just copy and put it here. All right, so ODL refers to the provision of flexible educational opportunities in terms of access and multiple modes of knowledge acquisition. All right, so we are looking at flexible educational opportunities, okay? I will try to, within this introduction, I'm going to just try to jive what I'm saying to MQA1. All right, so when we talk about flexible educational opportunities, okay, in MQA1, you will have a market survey, all right, whether people are demanding to have your programs via ODL, okay, then if there are demand on your program for ODL, then you will be able to provide flexible educational opportunities in terms of access, okay, and multiple modes of knowledge acquisition. All right, so meaning that you will given flexible delivery, you are going to give flexible access to your students anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. All right, the flexibility is very important in ODL. All right, so and then access. You are going to give opportunities for your student or prospective student to be able to access your platform, your what we call self-instructional material, which I'm going to elaborate later on. Okay, they will be able to access free from constraints of time and place. So you are looking at students not only in Malaysia, but you are going to look at students from overseas. Okay, can you give them access anytime, any place, okay, via your ODL? So this will make your program accessible to everybody. And then multiple modes, all right, in terms of delivery system and learning resources. So you are not going to prepare only one mode of delivery. Okay, you will have asynchronous and you will have synchronous. Okay, asynchronous what we call tidak segera, and synchronous segera. Okay, so you are going to give the multiple modes. Okay, this is where the ODL becomes different from the conventional mode. Okay. All right. So this is long, and I don't like to prepare slide like this, where I put all the definition and so on. But I have to put the whole definition so that I can highlight the main thing in this definition. This comes from the COPA ODL. All right. So the terms ODL reflect both the fact that all or most of the teaching is conducted by someone removed in time and space from the learner. So this is from UNESCO. All right, meaning that someone removed in terms of time, masa, all right, meaning that we have different time. Someone in Saudi Arabia, okay, we are in Malaysia, so we are going to teach them, so it is in different time, okay, and different space. Okay, we in front of their in our computer, and they in front of their computer, right? And then separation from teacher and learner in the same in time and place. Okay, this is from COL, Commonwealth of Learning. All right, institutional accreditation. Use of mixed media courseware involves two-way communication. All right, so it involves institutional accreditation. So this is what we are doing now, institutional accreditation. And then we have learning resources is the central feature of the learning experience. Okay, learning resources. The teacher is not the central feature, but the learning resources, and in COPA ODL, we call it SIM, self-instructional material. Okay, so let me just have a look at the chat because I saw some questions just now. Dr. Azidah, how is ODL different from MOOC in terms of online delivery and accessibility? Okay, so how ODL is different? Okay, MOOC is MOOC, there are two kinds of MOOC. Okay, MOOC one is based on a program, okay, our existing program, okay, and we have also what we call CPD MOOCs, whereby it is a continuous professional development MOOC. All right, MOOC is an ODL. All right, MOOC is an ODL. and MOOC is 100% online. All right. So there was basically there is no difference because MOOC is ODL. Okay, but ODL is not actually only MOOC. All right. There are micro-credential, for example, is ODL. All right. So, and we have open educational resources. It is also ODL. We have OCW, online courseware, also ODL. So, ODL, MOOC is ODL, but ODL is not entirely MOOC. All right. So, it's part of ODL. Okay, kalau mau design program hybrid, mesti daftar sebagai ODL juga kah? Alright, hybrid is blended learning. So if you are doing blended learning, so you don't have to daftar as ODL. Okay, lepas ni, after this, I'm going to just share you all the definition for ODL. And then I'm going to also define hybrid as well. Yeah, hybrid, we call it blended learning lah. Alright. Okay. Alright, so okay. Dr. Zaki, adakah syarat khusus untuk sokongan misalnya technical team atau kemudahan akses, flexibility, contohnya pengalaman? Ya, saya akan touch this Dr. Zaki later on. However, ya, perlu ada technical team dan juga ada kemudahan akses. Alright, contohnya pengalaman. Pengalaman itu penting. Yang ini saya akan contohnya pengalaman. It is a very good question. Adakah kita perlu orang yang berpengalaman untuk bantu dalam kita punya ODL? Ya, kita perlu, but I will elaborate later on ya, Dr. Zaki, but betul, kita perlu the pengalaman. Technical perlu, the pengalaman is also perlu. Alright? Alright. I think that's it buat masa ini. Okay, kalau suara saya tersekat-sekat, beritahu ya, sebab saya kat rumah. Sometimes unit ni dia buat, but I think should be okay lah. In the morning selalunya okay. Afternoon je memang selalu bermasalah. Alright. Okay, so this is the overall picture of an ODL program based on MQA. Yeah? Based on MQA. So these are the questions that you need to ask. Your PTJ, your department need to ask before you embark on the ODL. Ada sesiapa yang tak mute mic tak? Can you mute your mic? Alright. Okay. So globalized online learning. Okay, in the PPT vision and mission. Alright. So satu perkara, one thing in a non-ODL institution, alright, our mission, vision and mission might not have the ODL specifically compared to the ODL institution. However, in your vision and mission must have the globalized learning. Okay, must have integrated lah. You dalam dia punya vision and mission, you might have integrated some kind of globalized online learning vision. Alright. Jadi mungkin you mungkin secara maybe it is not explicit. Okay, tak adalah dia cakap kena buat online, globalized and so on. However, you can interpret your vision and mission to cater the need of globalized online learning. Alright. And then this is important, has demand. Alright. So sometimes, okay, you think that okay, this is good to have this program as ODL. Okay, nampak macam ada potensi, However, to do a market survey, kena ada must prove that it has demand. The program has demand to be delivered via ODL program. Okay. And then you have the appropriate process to design and develop curriculum. Okay. For example, okay, you are going to design a new program for ODL. You are not going to use your existing program as an ODL program. So you must actually tell MQA, when you write the MQA01, what are the process in designing and developing the new curriculum. It must be clearly stated, the process from scratch towards the whole curriculum. All right. While you are designing and developing the curriculum, all right, you must also consider the stakeholder. All right, who are stakeholders? All right, what are their needs and so on. So, okay, this ODL program need an ODL expert's advice. Okay, so if let's say you have designed and developed the curriculum, you must look for one ODL expert specifically kalau boleh in your area. Okay, example, janganlah jemput saya kalau you in Faculty of Health. For example, jemput Dr. Azidah tak sesuai. Walaupun I am an ODL expert, however, I am not the expert in the health punya curriculum lah. Jadi, I am not sure whether that particular course, okay, or that particular version is suitable to be implement via ODL. Kalau boleh, dapatkan ODL experts in your area. However, kalau tak boleh, bolehlah cari yang dekat-dekat, meaning that dia adalah sikit-sikit. For example, you are doing health, maybe someone ada sikit-sikit, mungkin psikologi, for example, psikologi yang dekat-dekat dengan health, for example, can also help in terms of the ODL. Alright, so that because they will know a little bit about your program, okay? And then requirements of the discipline. Criteria 1 is requesting to annotate. You want to annotate what? Patricia ke tersilap? Alright, I just ignore first, yeah? Alright, so require of the discipline of the study. Requirements, alright? Jadi perlu tak? Alright? Ada requirement tak of the discipline of the study to be conducted online, ODL? Alright? Okay, tersilap. Oh, it's okay, Patricia. Alright, then ODL system ready? Okay, I think most of us with the system, I think you are ready now. Okay, you are ready now because of the COVID-19. I think this is also why now I have so many requests from MQA to have ODL program accredited, provisional accreditation, because I think because of the pandemic COVID-19 and then they have the experience in delivering the course online, they are ready to embark on ODL. They think they are ready in the ODL, their systems are ready, their staff are ready and so on. Okay, however, okay, last week we had I had, because when we do the provisional accreditation, one is the experts in the area, in the program, will be assessing the program, okay, the application, and one will be the ODL expert. So I was the ODL expert for 2 programs last week, okay. So from the 2 application, we rejected 1, okay, 1 we give provisional bersyarat, ya, kita bagi syarat, we give some requirement for the institution, they must meet this particular requirement, okay, we give some requirement for them, they must meet, and then barulah kita benarkan mereka menjalankan program tersebut. Alright, so if you think your ODS system ready, it might not be ready kalau tidak mencapai tahap-tahap yang diperlukan. And you need the ODL coordinator. Alright, but I don't think this is a problem with UMS because you have the e-learning center. All right, so the e-learning center, the pengarah or the e-learning coordinator can be the ODL coordinator because they have experience in e-learning. So you will have no problem, just make them the, appoint them as the ODL coordinator for your program as well, okay? All right, so let me just check. All right, so Dr. Nazir, look for ODL expert in medical and health sciences, particularly in nutritional sciences or maybe dietetic. All right. So Dr. Nazri, like I said just now, if you can't find somebody who are experts in specifically in your area, you might want to look for experts that somehow related to, almost related to your area. Okay, sciences and so on. Okay, boleh. Alright. Okay, so tak semestinya memang nak cari ODL expert, your area might be difficult. Alright. And then the ODL experts not to be in your institution. It can be ODL experts outside your institution. Alright. I can mention that it can be people outside your institution. Kalau ada dalam institution, then it should be okay. Kalau tidak, you can go and have them look at the programs and have a look on the applicability of DL for your area. Kalau tak boleh juga, bolehlah jemput yang biasa, orang yang bukan dalam bidang tetapi ODL expert. Kalau tak jumpa juga should be okay lah, so that it can they can ask you question, he or she can ask you question regarding the ODL, and then you can clarify, and they will help you in terms of the implementation. As long as you can answer their questions, you can give suggestion on the delivery and so on, should be okay. Right, and SMS. If we want to have only 2 courses which are ODL, not the whole program, is it okay? Example, just research method and data analysis courses. So this will be the blended learning. All right. So this won't be an ODL. All right. So these are the question by NSMS. All right. If you just want to have 2 courses, it's blended learning. Okay. I'll explain in this slide. All right. This you can ask. All right. Okay. Salam Dr. Azidah, regarding the market survey, can you suggest the appropriate number of content to be needed? All right. So it depends on your program, you know, but you might want to, last week that I did the ODL audit for one of the institution. They only give us 21 respondents for the market survey, so it was not accepted. All right, so I think you might like a research, okay, the minimum number, okay, if 20 it is not accepted, you might want to go up to 100 and so on. All right. Wait, I'll just go up first. I think it's okay. Then Dr. Lim, what is minimum requirement in terms of online system support? I don't understand this question. Minimum requirement. I think that the support will be based. Okay, sorry. So it will be based on availability of the technical support. For example, you have one help desk, you have people who will cater the need of the students. So as long as you have the support staff and technical support for your program, should be okay. All right, there is no minimum requirement, but at least you will have technical people. Okay, you will have ODL experts to help your, especially the ODL expert or e-learning coordinator will help the lecturers in terms of preparing their self-instructional material. Okay, kalau boleh ada instructional designer lagi bagus. Alright, so it's actually as long as you have the support should be okay. Alright. Yang ni saya belum cerita lagi tentang the 60%. Alright, I'll describe that later, ya. Okay. SIM, I will describe later juga Dr. Mawani. Okay, bahagian SIM satu lagi. Alright, and then what is the significance of appointing ODL expert in curriculum design? Okay, because the ODL expert will help you to verify whether your curriculum or your program can be delivered online, or if let's say you have practical or you have hands-on and so on, will that be available to be done online? Or okay, if let's say the ODL expert asks you, okay, can this be done? The lab, the makmal science can be done. How this can be done online? So if you say, oh no, this cannot be done online, this will be done face to face, then it's okay. All right. So they will ask you questions to verify question before you go to MQA. Sebab MQA nanti pun akan tanya soalan yang sama. So you ada makmal science, okay, you would like them to do something hands-on, practical skills and so on. How you are going to conduct this? All right. Okay. How do we entitle ourselves to be an expert? Are there exams or training provided? Saya tak ada rasa exam, tetapi saya adalah qualified ODL expert because my background is ODL and I'm doing research on ODL lah. My PhD is actually on ODL. Sometimes people do, they are in different background, okay, different background, but they go through their academics via online. Or for example, like your Prof, Prof, I don't know whether he is here or not, but he is an ODL expert as well, considered he is doing his PhD in educational technology and so on, all right? But his background, basic background, his degree, for example, he is in biology or physics, I can't remember. So that is some of the qualification and ODL experts yang kita tahu lah, alright, but mostly they are from instructional design, okay, alright. So if you would like to be an ODL expert, maybe yes, we can conduct trainings and so on, okay, alright. So now stop the chat first, and then we go to this particular slide, okay, that will answer some of the question in chat box just now, alright. So how do you identify your course or your program to become an ODL? First, 60% of the courses offered in the program conducted via ODL. Okay, tadi ada soalan tanya kan, 2 kursus daripada the whole program sahaja yang nak ditawarkan secara ODL, then it won't be an ODL, it will be a blended learning. So a blended learning saya rasa ianya telah diimplement di UMS. Okay, mungkin you boleh tanya Prof Fong, you boleh tanya Puan Salmi and so on about the blended learning. Kalau 2 saja tidak, okay. Maksudnya kalau 2, katalah dalam your course, your program ada nak kira senang, ada 100 course for example. Jadi 60 course mesti conduct via ODL. Alright, the whole program from first year to 4th year. Alright, so combination of that, 60% offered via ODL. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Jadi kalau you nak embark, make sure that 60% is offered via online. Kalau 50% tak dikira, itu dinamakan blended learning. So blended learning is considered as conventional, ya. Masih lagi dianggap conventional, not ODL. So the requirement is the same as conventional. Alright. And then for a course, okay, ini satu kursus. Kursus ini katalah kursus MPU, TITAS for example. Okay. For a course to be considered as an ODL course, 80% of the student learning time, SLT, need to be delivered via open and distance. Alright. So meaning that when we say about 80% of SLT, katalah, okay, if let's say the SLT of a course is 120, 130 for 3 credits. So 80% of 120 need to be delivered via open and distance mode. Okay, this is bila kita isi table 4 nanti, we will know, okay, how to calculate the 80% lah. Tapi secara general, generally what we can consider is all the delivery, okay, all the teaching and learning can be done via open and distance mode, asynchronous or synchronous, meaning that you have your WebEx session with your students, you ada timetabling for the synchronous, and then you have prepared the asynchronous and so on. All right. So all the delivery, all the teaching and learning you do online. However, maybe the 20% will be your examination. For example, this is just an example. Examination, you do it face to face. Okay, the ODL students need to come to a center, for example, to do the exam face to face lah, using pen and paper. So for a course contohnya, so delivery online 80% and the exam secara face to face. However boleh juga, alright, 80% of the course, for example, for health science courses, you need some experiment and so on. So the 80% can be considered teaching, learning and assessment. Exam pun online, tetapi the hands-on part will be face to face, alright, for a course. Also can, right? So you are the designer of the course, you can make decision of how the 80% can be and how the 20% will be done. However, it is 80% is minimum. You can make it 100% online, meaning that kalau 100% online, your exam or whatever you do are all online. The examination will be done online, the teaching and learning can be done online. So it is 80% to 100% online. All right. And then the students' SLT can be supported through, okay, the 80% and above can be supported through synchronous and asynchronous activities. All right. So meaning that you have the timetable for synchronous, you might want to arrange for like 2 weeks meeting synchronous via WebEx, and then you do online chat. Okay, chat is synchronous. Chat because you when you maybe arrange a session for chat of the students, you give activity and then they don't understand, then you put in your MS the chat session, then they can ask questions through the chat session. It is considered as a synchronous, meaning that you are there for your students. All right. Also, you can also arrange for asynchronous activities. All right, meaning that you develop a video. All right, and then from the video you prepare an activity for the student, and then you can prepare self-assessment for the student. All right. So it will be synchronous and asynchronous. Combination of both can be supported can be used to support SLT. All right. Also, material. Okay, I will describe the self-instructional learning material. Okay. after this. So KIV first, and then learning support service, meaning that, okay, if you know the definition of learning time, it is not only when you and your students is together. Meaning that, for example, if let's say they might need some support services in terms of using your LMS, for example. Okay, maybe they have problems and so on, your LMS is upgraded and so on. The learning support services also considered as covering the SLT. So you might want to consider the learning support service, all right? Or for example, you have your master student, all right? Master student, they are doing research or they are doing coursework, but they have component of research and they need some support in terms of writing, academic writing. So it will be also considered as learning support service. For example, you you said that, okay, if you would like to learn about the how to write your dissertation, okay, you can refer to this particular person. All right, that particular activity with that particular person is considered as learning support service, and it can support the SLT as well. All right. So F2F session, face-to-face session, can be conducted through various modalities. Okay, so face-to-face session can be virtual and can be physical. For example, you have arranged for example, we have like 14 weeks, right? Per semester. So maybe you have 12 weeks virtual face-to-face, but you still want to do a face-to-face physical session, it can be done as well. All right. So various modalities. It's up to you and your design of and the design of your course. However, remember 80% should be done online. All right. Let me chat box. For ODL, do we need to construct our own SIM or we simply, okay, I'll cover this one, okay, Saizal, all right, I will do this later on. Is ODL applicable for every level of education? Yes. Okay, but doctorate, yes, can. I have actually audit once ODL for PhD. Yeah? Can, yes, it can be done. Some of the for example, the ODL institution, we are from the UA is non-ODL, tapi kalau for example OUM, Kawasan, if they have a doctorate course, it is, you can do the master or your PhD, or sometimes you have kalau yang business apa ya, DBA, all right? DBA. Like I'm from the School of Education, we have our EDD program. It can also be done in ODL, all right? Yes, can. All right, but yes, Dr. Siti Nurbaya, can an original conventional program 2 years be offered in ODL with reduced credit hours and shortened period? Example 1 year, no. All right, at the moment, okay, if let's say you are doing the conventional 2 years, the ODL full time need to also be done for 2 years. Okay, actually yesterday I have a session in USM as well, all right, whereby we have this micro-credential course. Okay, micro-credential is something like MOOC, but micro-credential is by modules, meaning that one topic, one modules, and so on. They will have badges for one modules and so on for each of the modules. Okay, via micro-credential, students will be able to learn according to their own time. All right, meaning that, you know, if let's say they have time, they will learn as much as they can, and actually the residential status, okay, can be reduced. Okay, all of us in university, we have what we call residential status. The residential status, for example, for full-time course for a master program should be 1 year, for example. Okay, 1 year to 1.5 years. All right, and then for part-time will be 2 years, 2.5 years, for example. So we must fulfill that residential status. For ODL, sama. Okay, we must fulfill the residential status, but for micro-credential, we are going to get it because it is a problem in micro-credential whereby they are learning via ODL. However, if they have the residential status, it will give problems to students who like to finish the course earlier than the normal program. Okay, we are going to try to get that, meaning that for micro-credential without the residential status. However, for ODL at the moment, there haven't been any exemption of the residential status, so we cannot reduce the time. Okay. Dr. Jamila, meaning at least 60% or 100% ODL also okay? Yes, it is at least 60%, Dr. Jamila. Kalau nak buat 100% ODL, tak ada masalah. Alright. And then sekarang saya lagi saya akan jawab Dr. Saizal punya soalan. Alright. Okay, so next. Gerak. Biar saya pilih hang. Talk about MQA and COPA ODL. Alright. When you are looking at MQA01, the 7 areas of evaluation adalah sama. It is similar to the normal program. Maksudnya kalau you punya pejabat, your quality center dah well versed tentang the usual way of going to MQA, applying for accreditation, the 7 areas are all the same requirement. However, there are a certain part that we need to look at in ODL. Okay, later on I'll show you. Okay. So main features for requirement of ODL, first is outcome based. Alright, so meaning that when you write your CLO for a new program, you must make sure that the outcomes or the abilities of students should be able to demonstrate upon completion of an educational program. I think that for sekarang ni pun memang we are looking at outcome based. Alright, and then you need to have an ODL expert within your institution. So this ODL expert might not be the expert in your area, okay? But the ODL expert that I mentioned earlier, they will review your program so that they can give feedback, okay, on the delivery. These particular ODL experts, all right, he or she will deal with the challenges of instruction and provide training within your institution, as well as advice on ODL learning and teaching processes and practices. So the ODL expert for UMS, I think, might be the e-learning center lah. It will deal with the challenges of instruction. How do you do your instruction online and so on. So they are giving trainings as well as advice on ODL. So I don't think you have a problem with the ODL expert within your institution. And then we have SIM, self-instructional material. Okay, I'll tell you about this after this, all right? And then an electronic online learning platform to conduct learning and teaching activities. So I think you have the smart apa ya? Okay, your LMS platform, all right? So so that can be used for your ODL. So you have that actually for your institution. So you don't need another learning platform for ODL. You can use the existing one. Okay, and then nature of interaction should be considered lah, whether it is synchronous or asynchronous. Okay, so you might want to consider, for example, in that your program, okay, the whole program you have a major, you have minor, and so on. All right, so you might want to consider maybe the minor project with more theories and so on. You can done asynchronously, and the major program, major courses, asynchronous for minor and easy, okay, easy courses, and synchronous mostly for harder courses. So, but it is up to you, all right, it is up to you, but you need to design that, all right. All right, so I saw some question just now. Okay, no, alright. Dr. Rosita tak perlu ikut macam ODL sebab this is ODL, it is up to the design of the seat. Okay, so 40-40-20 tu blended learning for the online apa orang kata? Online teaching and learning. Kita tak perlu ikut yang blended. Blended ya kena ikut 40-40-20. Ya, PTG betul. Blended learning BLS. Alright, Dr. Rosita UPNM ke ni? Rosita. Okay. Okay. Jauh datang ya, terbang ke Sabah. Alright, so tak perlu ya PM Dr. Rosita. So meaning that it is kita tak perlu ikut 40-40-20. Kalau nak ikut boleh, but it is not a requirement. Okay. So Dr. Lim, alright, if we have a program currently implemented under conventional or blended, can we treat other meaning programs currently? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Actually, previously untuk non ODL institution, the requirement was the program need a new program should be based on a conventional program that you have offered in your institution. You duplicate that particular program, and then the program becomes a program. Okay. And now you can also, a new regulation from MQAO1, you can also design a new program based on ODL. So to answer the just now, yes, you can duplicate the conventional or blended, and you can create another for ODL, meaning that you are going to the course is for students who are not in UFS, meaning that you want to cater the need for students outside Sabah. For example, you want to get students from Semenanjung, for example, that should be okay. You just duplicate, but you must look at the requirement that I mentioned earlier for ODL. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then okay, Dr. Nazri, kami masih tawarkan program konvensional tetapi SLT aktiviti disesuaikan ikut kaedah ODL. Betul. Okay. Yang ini akan saya cerita esok dalam table 4 ya. Dalam table 4 tu yang kita akan tetapkan SLT yang mana yang konvensional akan ditukarkan menjadi SLT ODL. Alright, so it will be done in table 4. Alright, barulah kita nampak, we can see the difference between ODL and the conventional. Okay. Okay, Doctor, what is the difference between synchronous and F2F virtual? Same, but synchronous tidak semestinya face to face ya. Like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Nur Hanisa, okay, synchronous can be chat. You can chat with your students synchronously without face to face, meaning that you don't meet them via Webex and so on. You just use the chat features in your LMS. Okay, you can set time. Okay, you can just chat with their student. It can also considered as synchronous. Kalau face to face, maksudnya kita guna Webex, kita guna tu. So it is almost the same, ya. Alright. And oh, maaf saya terkeliru dengan table 4. Okay. Doctor, if ODL, does we open for all like putting in MOOC or just in UMS? It is only in UMS, meaning that kalau MOOC is considered as free for everybody. Tetapi for ODL, it is your to the conventional program that you offer. Jadi student dia kena register. Student will register to the program similar to the conventional program. They have to gone through orientation. They have to follow the weekly, meaning that if we have 14 weeks of classes, dia kena follow. Kalau dalam MOOC tak semestinya MOOC, they can do the MOOC anytime. Dia suka, dia nak masuk, dia masuk, dia tak nak masuk pun tak apa. Tapi for the ODL, for UMS for example, student must follow the academic year. Alright, kena ikutlah satu persatu. Dan akhirnya kena ada mesyuarat exam, kena ada markah dikeluarkan, not similar as MOOC. Yeah? Jadi it is the your program in the university that you just transfer into ODL. The process of kemasukan, entrance and so on sama saja, tetapi it will be done online. Yes, betul. Dr. Mawarni, it follow the conventional academic year. It is only ODL in terms of the delivery. Okay, but the academic year will be the same, not same as MOOC. Okay. Alright. Okay, so we go on with the ODL system. So before you embark, okay, so meaning that the PTJ, the ODL system, you must consider whether the whole system is ready. Okay, you have online platform. Okay, you have plan the mode of interaction, synchronous or asynchronous. Online platform, saya percaya, I believe that in UMS, it is already developed and established. All right. And then system support and trainings, I think you have the e-learning center. Okay, maybe you have experts as well. You have student support. Okay. Student support ni yang saya, I'm not really sure whether you have or not, because before this, our student support usually will be the conventional student support lah kan. Alright, if they have problem, they will give to the HCP and they will, but however, for this ODL support, we are looking at technical support for the students. Kalau dia ada masalah nak login, how do they contact the technical support? Sebab dia adalah, mungkin dia berada di Brunei for example, so they need to have a support online, maybe 24/7 if you can do that, but at least when they need the support, they will be able to get it immediately or in ample time. Alright. And then staff support, okay, kalau student ada support, the staff also need support. Alright. Okay, then self-instructional material prepared and considered copyright. Okay, so yang ini saya akan cerita lebih detail ya tentang self-instructional material, because I after auditing because this SIM is being highlighted for the new document, yeah, the latest document 2019. So before this, the SIM tak diceritakan dengan jelas dalam MQA, tetapi untuk the latest version, SIM is being mentioned, all right, and how to prepare and consider. So after this, I'm going to share with you all about the SIM, all right. This is one important lah things. Okay, kalau kita tengok tadi, saya rasa okay, kita tengok tadi yang ini saya rasa online platform dah sedia, alright. Mode of interaction pun sebab you have been gone through the pandemic COVID-19 blended learning. I think you have been, all the academic staff has been ready for the mode of interaction, synchronous and asynchronous. I think you are already ready also for system support and training. However, the self-instructional materials, yang tu yang saya tak pasti sama ada you dah prepare, you ada atau tidak. Alright, so let us discuss this. Sebelum tu saya jawab dulu, Dr. Rozaimi. Apakah syarat untuk membangunkan program ODL? Adakah program konvensional perlu dapatkan akreditasi penuh dahulu? Kan program ODL ini bergantung dengan program konvensional sedia ada. Ya, betul. Alright, perlu dapatkan akreditasi penuh dahulu. Meaning that kalau dia profesional tak boleh lah. Okay, kena ada akreditasi penuh program yang dah establish di UA. Alright, disebabkan oleh betul. Jadi tapi sebenarnya kalau you buat, sebab yang ini ada yang baru ya, meaning that you can develop the program from scratch. Okay, jadi tak perlulah ada program konvensional yang sedia ada pun tak apa, boleh. You boleh buat satu program yang mana tak ada kena-mengena pun dengan whatever program konvensional yang sedia ada. Ianya boleh dijalankan sekarang ni, dah dibenarkan. Okay, so it depends lah. Tapi kalau you guna program sedia ada, make sure that it is already established dan dapat akreditasi penuh dahulu. Alright. Ada minimum enroll? Tak perlu. Okay. Ada minimum number student tak yang perlu enroll ODL sebelum ditawarkan? Alright. Tak, meaning that you get the provisional dulu, baru you boleh enrollkan student ya. So kena dapatkan provisional baru you boleh enrollkan student. Tak boleh enroll tu sebelum tawarkan. Jadi you kena dapatkan provisional akreditasi sementara ya, baru boleh tawarkan program itu kepada student. Jadi kalau dah tawarkan waktu dalam dokumen, sekejap lagi saya akan tunjuk dokumen. Alright. Dalam dokumen tersebut memang kena ada kita punya projection. How many students that we expect to enroll in that particular program. Okay, for example, for the first year, mungkin you tak expect ramai yang akan enroll for that particular program, mungkin 10 orang saja. Okay, first year 10 orang, second year 20 orang, third year 30 orang. So dalam dokumen untuk dihantar for the provisional accreditation sementara, you kena nyatakan you punya expectation on the number of student that enroll in that particular program lah ya. Okay. Okay. Alright. So let me just, okay. Sekarang saya nak masuk kepada self-instructional material yang ditaja dari awal. Semua dah tak sabar. What is self-instructional material? Okay. Self-instructional material is a mechanism or system where all forms of interaction and delivery are integrated. Alright. So, yang penting dalam self-instructional material, when you prepare a nama pun self-instructional material, we are looking at preparing instructional material for self-directed learners. Okay, meaning that maksudnya sini, these particular materials, the SIM, what we call SIM, can be used by the ODL student without you, the lecturers, being there with them. Okay, maksudnya ianya boleh digunakan pukul 12 malam baru dia nak belajar. Alright, sebab siang dia kerja, for example, they are working. Biasanya ODL kita buka kepada part time. part-timers who are working during the day and they would like to further their academics qualification after working hours, so we are offering the part-time. Okay, kalau full-time dia kena boleh habiskan in full-time. So sometimes you can offer both full-time or part-time. So katalah student itu part-time ataupun memang pelajar tu memang buruh hantu, for example, dia memang nak belajar tengah malam, so they will be able to use the SIM, okay. For example, pukul 1 malam dia nak belajar, okay, dan dia ambil masa 1 jam, dia akan go through the SIM. Dalam SIM tersebut, there will be resources, there will be activities, there will be also assessment. Alright? Okay. So, kalau boleh, okay, kalau boleh, okay, biasanya kalau saya audit, I'm auditing the universiti swasta, the private colleges, private universities, they actually have this instructional designer to help the lecturers to design and develop the SIM. Okay, biasanya private universities ada, tetapi universiti awam biasanya kita ni tiada instructional designer, and we have been discussing this, we don't have perjawatan instructional designer pun tidak wujud dalam universiti awam. So but the private university, they have this instructional designer who help the lecturers to design the SIM. However, we lecturers, we actually, saya selalu, sebab I am an instructional designer, so I always tell my students, we are also instructional designer. We who are the one who design the instruction for our students. Alright, so then if you don't have a unit or section devoted for designing and developing the SIM, then you can actually design the SIM by yourself. Okay, it must include resources, it must include activities, and it must include the assessment in one SIM. Alright? Alright, so you have the electronic platform, so I am not worried about this. Okay. Yang ni tadi ada soalan tentang boleh tak guna SIM untuk guna orang lain punya ke? Boleh tak ambil yang the publisher, okay, punya ke, and so on. Yes, you can. Alright, you boleh guna adopting. Okay, you can adopt existing materials, you can adapt existing materials, you can create original materials, and you can apply other appropriate approaches. Maksudnya SIM is very flexible. Okay, SIM is very flexible. Jadi maksudnya kalau you dah ada dalam you punya e-learn, for example, you ada existing materials, why not use, just guna sahaja, you can adopt, mungkin boleh diubah, ditambah baik dan sebagainya. Alright, and then you can create original materials, okay, and then you can use other appropriate approaches. However, the department should consider having intellectual property rights and licensing policies for learning materials, learning object, and innovation. Kenapa? Alright, sometimes kita lah lecturers lah, especially when we design our materials, learning materials, we pergi Google saja, we just Google, okay, pergi dekat image, katalah image computer. So you go to computer and then there are a lot of interesting images and you just right click and then you put in your computer and then in your learning material you just upload because it is appropriate to your, for example, PowerPoint. Alright. Jadi yang itu adalah satu kesalahan yang biasanya all the pensyarah tidak aware. Mereka, our lecturers, sometimes they are not aware of the copyright issues, okay, in learning materials. So, jadi the department should consider having intellectual property, meaning that when the lecturers or the instructional designer prepare the scene, okay, make sure that the materials being used adalah material yang non-copyright, for example from open source and so on, so that after you have created your SIM, you can copyright the SIM for your institution. Alright, kalau macam kami di university, research university, you know, every lecturers berebut-rebut nak buat copyright of their instructional material so that they dapat KPI copyright. Okay, so you might want to consider the copyright lah, ataupun institutional adakan copyright, ataupun alright, you can put the SIM as apa namanya tu, Creative Commons license, meaning that it is not copyrighted but there are certain measures in Creative Commons license. It can be an OER and so on. So you must consider this, meaning that dalam dokumen MQA1 nanti kena sebut, okay, our SIM is copyrighted under apa, ataupun will be copyrighted under my IPO, for example, ataupun our SIM is considered as open source and it uses Creative Commons license CC BY, for example, okay, CC BY whatever lah, yang mana it can be copied, okay, but copied the same. So yang itu mesti dinyatakan dalam dokumen about copyright so that people will be clear of your siapa punya the SIM, ya. Alright. Alright, let me tengok the soalan first. Pergi ke atas dulu. Alright, Dr. Noli. Okay, can the instructional materials be done in Teams for instance or must be in PDF format? Okay, sekejap lagi saya jawab ya Dr. Noli. Alright, sebab ada dalam slide yang saya akan tunjukkan sekejap lagi ni. Alright. Dr. Syarikat, apa beza dengan semua of learning material? Hayat Safra, memang wajib ke ada ODL expert dalam institusi yang nak mohon ODL? Yes, kalau okey, apa yang berlaku yang Dr. Rizal nanti saat lagi saya jawab ya, sebab saya nak dalam this particular slide juga, cuma saya jawab yang mana yang tidak termasuk. Alright, so can the instructional materials be done in Teams or must be in PDF format pun saya akan jawab sekejap lagi. Dr. Hayati tadi, memang wajib ke ada ODL expert dalam institusi yang nak mohon ODL? Ya, wajib. Boleh katakan wajib lah, sebab kalau bila institusi tersebut, the UA or private university, they are filling the MQA1, alright. So apa yang terjadi adalah kalau akreditasi sementara program biasa ya, which is not ODL, biasanya dokumen itu akan dihantar terus kepada auditor. Okay, ada seorang atau dua orang auditor, dia akan tengok dan dia akan buat report and that's it. Alright, that's it untuk conventional courses, conventional programs. However, for ODL, apa yang akan terjadi bila you hantar MQA01, the document, okay, the MQA will actually appoint panel for expert in that particular area. Okay, maksudnya kalau you science, for example, jadilah seorang MQA panel yang akan melihat the program itself, dan MQA juga akan appoint orang macam saya, alright, ODL auditors untuk melihat that particular program. Okay, dan untuk ODL kita akan ada session. We will have a session. Okay, macam last week what I did was we arrange meeting, okay, Google Meet meeting for example, And during that particular meeting, okay, the session, we are going to look at only the ODL preparation. Okay, maksudnya you ada platform and the ODL expert should be there and well-versed of the platform, well-versed of the ODL program, and he or she will be showing us, okay, how the programs will be delivered via online. Meaning that via ODL, online via ODL. Meaning that the head of program dia mungkin expert dalam the program itself, tapi the ODL person should be there to support the delivery of ODL. So wajib sebenarnya memang lebih kurang wajib lah ya. So mungkin kalau satu universiti kalau ada seorang, okay, tak perlulah dalam setiap program ada seorang, tetapi one university should have one experts in ODL kalau universiti tersebut, institusi tersebut ingin menjalankan program ODL. Okay. Alright. Okay, apa beza SIM? Tadi dah nanti saya jawab. Okay, e-book can be considered a SIM. Saya jawab nanti. Bantuan mengajar, slide PowerPoint, betul atau salah? It is kalau slide, okay, slide PowerPoint and so on, it is not, lebih kurang lah kita nak kata alat bantu mengajar, tetapi it is much more comprehensive. Kalau you letak your PowerPoint itself, it is not considered as SIM. Alright, okay, and then okay, this is a big issue for me, Dr. Jacqueline. If I use my own research photographs and sound recordings, I do not want this to be Creative Commons. How do I avoid problems? Then you can copyright your materials lah. Kalau you guna you punya your own photograph, for example, from your research, you have your own sound recordings, you can copyright the scene. Okay, so you don't want to use Creative Commons, you can go to MyPo and then you bayar MyPo, I think RM60 je kot. So biasanya research the RMC for universities, they will provide the kaedah bagaimana. Selalunya kalau di USM memang kami go through our RMC untuk apply for the copyright. So Dr. Jacqueline, yes, that tak payah guna copyright kalau you tak nak, you tak payah guna Creative Commons if you don't want it to be open. Alright. Adakah Smart UMS atau Google Classroom merupakan SIM? Alright. Dr. Mok, SIM bukan platform. Okay. SIM is not a platform. SIM diletakkan dalam kita punya Smart UMS, Google Classroom or e-learning platform. Okay. ODL expert have certain certificate, is it? Kalau macam saya memang, saya punya PhD in instructional design, so and I'm doing the research on ODL, jadi tak adalah certificate yang menyatakan you are ODL expert, but we have, itulah saya pun tak pasti sekarang ni berapa ramai ODL expert di Malaysia. However, kalau dalam UMS for example, I can see the e-learning center with the Puan Salmi pun boleh dianggap sebagai ODL expert, I think. Alright, sebab dia ada pengalaman, dia ada certain measures yang dia tahu tentang ODL, then should be okay lah. Alright. Okay, tentang isu copyright tu tak jelas. Bolehkah kita copy pictures and video dari Google Pictures or YouTube? Alright. So, isu copyright. Satu perkara, okay, copy pictures dari Google. Okay, when you are, yang ni kena ada sesi pula, how to know that the items, the gambar atau the video that we ambil daripada Google itu copyrighted or not. Okay, selalunya kalau you nak cari open source, then bila you pergi Google, you kena cari dekat tools, alright, dekat tools tu copyright bahagian apa namanya saya pun tak ingat, tapi sebelah tarikh tu, okay, you cari adalah image yang tiada copyright ataupun open source. Alright, you tak boleh ambil Google, nampak image and you tak yang you simpan dalam komputer, tak boleh ya. You kena make sure that you know the copyright. Okay, sebab also Google Pictures tu memang tak boleh. YouTube, alright, YouTube kalau you embed okay, kalau you download tak boleh. Alright. Okay, so meaning that YouTube biasanya ia je memang disediakan untuk orang share dan embed. Jadi you must give credit lah. Kalau you gunakan the YouTube dalam you punya SIM, you must give credit. Okay, tapi you tak boleh pula copyright the SIM. Okay, sebab ia adanya ada bahan daripada orang lain. Okay. Alright, so continue with the SIM tadi. Okay, sebab ada soalan tentang self-instructional material tadi dalam chat tentang kalau saya guna PDF saja boleh tak? Okay, alright, boleh. Okay, text, how do you design your self-instructional materials? Okay, jadi text material strategy maksudnya PDF only. Okay, boleh. Alright, sebenarnya if let's say if as far as I know, okay, ODL institutions such as Wawasan, for example, Wawasan Open University, they have been in this ODL for ages, and then they appoint module writers to design and develop their self-instructional materials. See, it is a module in terms of module, and tetapi they have requirement. If you are going to do it in PDF, ianya bukan semata-mata letak nota. Alright, it is not notes. Alright, so meaning that you have resources. For example, okay, saya pergi ke depan sikit dulu. Alright, so saya pergi ke depan dulu supaya anda tahu bahawasanya in a SIM, whether it is a PDF, okay, ataupun it is an interactive SIM. Alright, SIM can be PDF, it can be an interactive SIM. You can ada title, okay, you can ada introduction, you can ada list of content. Alright, kalau ada banyak content lah, if let's say you do one topik saja SIM tersebut and you want to put in one box of your Smart UMS, for example, okay, just satu content saja should be okay. Okay, you must have learning outcomes. Okay, the SIM cater what learning outcomes. Alright, and then resources needed for the unit and topic, you akan letak resources. You must have activities for independent learning. Alright, maksudnya dia belajar pukul 1 pagi pun, they will, after they look at the resources, they will be able to do activities based on the resources. Okay, then dah buat activity, they will be, you might have questions or you might have quiz. Okay, quiz that they will do by themselves. Okay, dan akhirnya mungkin you ada satu ni, okay, key points from these modules adalah apa dan apa. Alright, just key points saja. So it must have this thing. Alright, so berbalik kepada soalan boleh tak buat dalam PDF? Yes, you can, as long as you have all this. Meaning that tak adalah your students, your ODS student bergantung sepenuhnya kepada internet. Meaning that, okay, you have put this in your Smart UMS or your Blackboard or whatever, and then they can download, and then dia boleh tutup komputer, and then they can study this particular SIM on this particular topic. Okay, and dia boleh dah duduk kat situ, tulis. At the end of the PDF SIM, should have answered or should have some guide on the assessment or the activity and so on. Macam buku-buku latihan anak-anak kita lah kan yang duk buat SAS body lah whatever tu. Alright, tapi itu adalah buku. Tetapi ini adalah mungkin sangat ringkas based on that particular topic. Kalau PDF mungkin ada based on the topic itself. Okay, so this is a SIM. So SIM can be comprehensive, PDF can be just simple PDF that you put based on the topics in your e-learning platform. Okay, so but it must include this. Okay, jadi menjawab soalan awal-awal tadi, boleh tak adakah slide PowerPoint itu SIM? It is part of SIM, but it is not the comprehensive SIM lah. Okay, jadi saya balik kepada alright. Okay, so boleh ya PDF tadi saya menjawab soalan yang pertama. Alright, you can also use broadcast strategy. Okay, for example podcast. Right, kalau tak nak buat, you can also rakam suara, letak dekat dalam actually the box, saya panggil box, kotak dalam you punya Smart UMS kan, minggu pertama, minggu kedua, minggu ketiga kan, for example. So minggu pertama tu satu box itu boleh dijadikan one SIM, meaning that dalam that particular box you put resources. Okay, you put tajuk, you put a tajuk there. Okay, tajuk pertama adalah apa-apa-apa, and then you put a resources. Okay, you can put as video, for example, you create a video, or you letak YouTube, you embed YouTube dalam tu, and then you have an activity based on the YouTube, and then you will have an assessment. Alright, so dalam satu kotak, one box in your Smart UMS, it can be one SIM for the topic. So this is a very comprehensive SIM but interactive. Or in the box you can put some instruction and so on, the topic, learning outcome and so on, but then you upload the PDF SIM and then student will be able to download that. Alright, so it is up to your design. Okay, tak kisah macam mana, as long as you cover all this. Okay, so as you cover macam mana you nak arrange, as long as semuanya ada. Okay, okay, and then mixed mode or multimedia strategy. Okay, meaning that you boleh mix lah. Kalau you nak letak konten di dalam PDF, you nak aktiviti dia dalam online dan sebagainya, it can also be done in mixed mode. Alright, as long as, sebab saya bercakap sebagai MQA punya auditor, so as long as I can see it is there in your online platform. Okay, kalau you guna yang publisher punya tadi, the sama ada kan, kalau saya tak ingat nama tadi, kalau katalah you guna, sebab sometimes publisher dia ada dia punya own LMS kan. Jadi biasanya dia punya SIM berada dekat dalam dia punya LMS, the publisher LMS. So what you can do is you can link that particular SIM dengan dalam you punya LMS. Alright, you cannot just kata, oh saya guna dia dekat sana. Okay, tak boleh. Because the platform is the main learning platform. So for example, if you use Smart UMS, then it will be the main platform. Whatever yang you buat di luar Smart UMS, for example, you guna the SIM from the publisher, you must link it in your Smart UMS, and there will be a clear instruction that the SIM is in the other platform. So you must put an instruction for self-instructional material, please refer to this particular module, and you have to finish doing the activity by berapa hari bulan. Okay, so must be clear on that. Alright, and then you can also use online strategy. So for example, kalau di US kita ada credential, so micro credential based on module. The micro credential itself can be considered as SIM, ya, sebab dia ada micro learning outcomes, meaning that ada dua saja ke learning outcomes, sangat micro, and then dia akan ada resources, dan dia akan ada activity dan so on. So micro credential can also be seen as self-instructional materials. Okay, and then Supplementary and complementary strategy, mungkin you nak buat project work, you nak letak audio visual materials, also can for self-instructional materials. The way you design is up to you. However, you must have this. Okay, semua ni kena ada. How you design is up to you because it is your topic. Alright, maybe you want to start with quiz first. Okay, masuk-masuk dalam you punya SIP. Okay, let us test your previous knowledge, for example. So letak quiz kat situ, then baru you bagi resources, and then you bagi activity and so on. Okay, it's up to your design. Alright, so yang ini adalah elements for SIM resources. So you can put yang tadi, you can also do PDF. You can also do recorded video, okay, rakam video sendiri. Okay, you can also do podcast. I like to do podcast actually sebab I don't have to show my face. Okay, I just can describe using podcast audio saja. You can do screencast. Okay, you can do narrated presentation and so on. Yang ini semua you can do. Alright, for example, you can do interview videos. Okay, you do interview videos and you letak dalam you punya platform, and then you will create activity from the interviewee. Okay, so janganlah rakaman video you mengajar saja bosan. So video di mana based on the topic and so on. Alright, you can interactive content, for example, link or H5P. Alright, or you can video interview. Help sign, mungkin you dalam operation room ke apa, letak satu video and suruh student, the ODF student describe actually what happened in the video. So it actually related to your creativity, macam mana you nak present the content. Alright, dia tak ada kaedah yang spesifik, but as I said just now, mesti ada semua ini. Alright, okay, let me okay, ada banyak soalan di sini. Alright. Okay, Dr. Tara boleh dapatkan gambar daripada website. Okay, betul. Unsplash boleh. Unsplash sangat banyak gambarnya, ataupun macam kami di USM, kami memang ada subscribe. Apa namanya, tak ingat, tapi memang sangat mahal lah. Di sana dah ada website, kita boleh buat video and so on lah. Yang tu ada website yang kita memang universiti subscribe, dan memang berbaloi lah subscribe, dan kita bagi pada semua pensyarah supaya mereka dapat images, free images, dan tak perlu cari di internet lah. So mungkin itu inisiatif universiti masing-masing. Alright. Kalau nak slide boleh, slide saya boleh dikongsi, nanti saya bagi kepada Erna. Okay. Apa pandangan doktor tentang lecture note atau record audio video yang digunakan pensyarah kemudian lari pula dia. Dibuat naik oleh pelajar ke dalam mana-mana platform termasuk media sosial seperti Instagram, Facebook, Twitter dan lain-lain. Okay, so yang itu sebenarnya terpulang pada pensyarah. Ada pensyarah yang dia tak kisah. If you don't like your students to upload your material in social media, you must let them know lah. Okay, you must let them know that these particular lectures are not allowed to be shared in social media. Alright, whatever in the happen in the platform should be in the platform only. Sebab sometimes you kena cakap lah, your materials is copyrighted, for example. Okay, jadi you tak boleh share. Kalau you punya bahan adalah Creative Commons license under Creative Commons, so should be okay. So you need to give them, to let them know. Sebab student ini dia main belasah je tau. They don't really know the copyright and so on. Sebab sekarang ini social media sangat menguasai pelajar-pelajar kita. So you need to teach them and let them know what is the copyright for your material. Sebab mereka memang akan apa kata guna saja tanpa minta kebenaran kita. So biasanya whatever selalunya kelas saya lah, the first week is about plagiarism and copyright. Okay, let them know. Alright. Kemudian one of the section the suggestion our colleague who are developing the instruction PDF may deposit them in the UMSOER, yes, and then share the link. Boleh Dr. Kenneth, alright. Sebab I think UMS have a very established OER, okay, so you can do that as well. Alright. Okay, boleh tak program ODL di UA dijalankan 3 semester dalam setahun dan ikut takvim belajar penuh masa? Alright, some of the private university, they have these 3 semesters, meaning that they have 2 long semesters and 1 short semester. However, you need to design the semesters, boleh ya, sebab saya pernah tengok private university buat. Okay, and it is accredited. However, you must also, tetapi untuk universiti awam, ia juga bergantung kepada senat universiti, ia juga bergantung kepada kenapa you nak go beyond your academic calendar and so on, yang tu kena ada justification ya Dr. Lim. Alright, so boleh ada justifikasi make sure that it is applicable. Okay, can I get a copy of this? Alright. Dr. Azri, this is a good question sebenarnya. Dia tanya pada Dr. Kenneth, but I will answer this later. Okay, walaupun tanya pada Dr. Kenneth, I will highlight is it possible for the SIM to be considered as a publication? Alright, yang saya akan kemukakan after this. Alright, sebab ada dalam MQA punya bukan requirement lah, suggestion. Alright. Okay, Dr. Kenneth jawab, in order to do this, you will have to go as okay, register your ER. Okay, so yes. So yang ini Dr. Kenneth jawab pihak S. Alright, so jadi saya tak nak. Right. Gambar dan video dari canva.com boleh guna tak? Boleh. Boleh, meaning that if you do a video, for example kan, apa yang saya buat adalah saya rakam video saya guna handphone and then saya masuk dalam Canva and then saya download. Then it is yours. Okay, kalau yang free itu memang Canva dah bagi open license. Kalau you subscribe to Pro Canva pun, it is sebab you dah bayar, so whatever you download from Canva, the photo, your free photo itu adalah open resource lah, so you can use that from Canva. Alright. Alright. Images dan dance of my photograph have turned up in their undergrad thesis, betul, without acknowledgement. So what I would like to suggest, mungkin waktu orientasi you can cakap, okay, the head of program need to let the students know, okay, dan selalu ingatkan pada student bahawasanya the copyright of the materials belong to the lecturer. So biasanya memang saya kalau setiap kelas saya yang baru saya akan highlightkan perkara ini lah, jangan not sewenang-wenangnya belajar share kalau kita bahan-bahan yang dari pensyarah. Okay. Okay, Dr. Alright. Nanti kalau you I terlupa, you just email me ya, Azidah @my, nanti I will share the link. Tak terlupa nak ambil you punya email. Alright. Okay. Okay. At the end of the slide ada saya punya email, nanti you email me, nanti I copy. I hantar you call. Boleh? I tak sempat nak ambil you punya slide. Alright. Okay. This is all about C. Okay. So can we have a 5-minute break? saya cakap nak minum air saya. So we have a 5-minute break and then I will continue with the requirements for ODL, and then I will share the important components in the COPA ODL so that you will be able to know where whatever I'm presenting how it relates to the COPA ODL nanti, ya. Alright, so Erna, I hope that you can take the email semua-semua tu nanti bagi kat saya yang dalam chat, ya, sebab tak sempat saya nak ambil semua-semua ni. So I hope that Erna can help me to email addresses from other universities. Okay, alright.
Doktor,
Yeah.
saya Dr. Jun from PKPKA, the one that contact Prof Karim. So kalau tidak pun nanti doktor share your PowerPoint with us. So nanti saya minta urus setiakan email semua kepada yang yang
bagi email ni lah.
Sebab kesian pula doktor yang kena email satu-satu.
So nanti you ambil the email, nanti you forward kepada yang share di sini, ya.
Ya, so nanti kami pun bagi juga email kami di dalam chat ni, just in case kami temis yang mana-mana audience dari luar. So you boleh contact kami untuk dapatkan PowerPoint. But recording session we will upload in the YouTube channel. Nanti kami share link lah.
Alright, okay, kita lihat.
Kita lihat sebentar, siang doktor. Untuk audiens juga, yang audiens dari luar, slide Dr. Azidah nanti kami akan share melalui magnetik dan MPQ. So biasanya memang pengarah MPQ atau magnetik dia akan share dengan dengan yang you mestilah. Okay, so just in case kami takut kami temis mana-mana, kan? Is it okay?
Okay, boleh saya sambung? Right, so other requirements for ODL. Okay, yang ini saya mention tadi, I already mentioned about appointing full-time coordinator, leader, alright. Kalau untuk program, if you are having a program like sciences program and so on, the program coordinator should be from the area lah, ya. Maksudnya ia ada seorang pakar dalam bidang anda, the program. However, kalau mereka juga ada pengetahuan dalam ODL, should be lagi bagus. Alright? Okay. Pengetahuan ya, bukan expert, tetapi kalau the program coordinator, I pernah mengikuti kursus secara ODL and so on, pernah melalui training tentang ODL, it should be much better lah for the program. Okay. And then a conducive learning environment and proper facilities for the execution of practical based training in line with the requirement. Alright. When we say about conducive learning environment, you must remember that we are doing the ODL program. Okay, and then your students might be not within the, maksudnya they will be like jauh, mungkin the distance within the students and the university will be maybe kalau the UMS maybe pelajar berada di Kuala Lumpur for example, so how they are going to have practical training or hands-on training kalau mereka adalah ODL students, ya. Remember we are trying to cater the need of students from everywhere. Okay, mungkin mereka ada di Qatar for example, so how are you going to do to execute the practical based training kalau mereka perlu melakukan practical based training. So maybe if you need this, you can have some MOU ke ataupun agreement, mungkin tak sampai MOU or MOA, tetapi mungkin you ada agreement with other institution yang ada they are providing the similar facilities and so on. You have agreement. Kalau ada agreement, kena ada dalam the document itself ataupun kenyatakan, kena letak the appendix. We have agreement with UKM to use their facilities pada minggu keberapa untuk this particular program, for example. And then we have also appoint a lecturer from UKM to help us with monitoring the students while doing the practical training. Okay. So this is actually what we need to know, what the auditor need to know, whether you have figure out the need of that particular program. Kalau dia perlu training, macam mana dia nak buat. Okay, if let's say you have a virtual lab, for example, then the virtual lab, kami nak tengok waktu kami the preparation of the virtual lab for the ODL students. So the conducive learning environment must not necessarily fikirkan the platform itself, but however how you cater the need of the students to achieve the learning outcome, the course learning outcome. It is very important. Okay, and then encourage innovation in teaching, learning and assessment. Okay, yang ini penting. Alright, so we don't actually we don't only encourage innovation, however we do check the analytics. Have you prepared the analytics, how the student access? So I think if let's say in UMS you have the smart UMS, or in other UAs you have Moodle and so on. So the analytics of the student access should be able to be assessed by the program coordinator and so on, to be able for them to monitor the student learning activity. Meaning that when the student access the system, Okay, how many times they access per week? Have they access the SIM, for example? So the analytics tools is very important, okay, to monitor students, the online, the ODL students learning, okay. Kalau conventional, if the conventional teaching, kalau mereka hadir kelas, kita boleh nampak. However, for ODL student, we are not being able to see them. Okay, kalau if let's say we don't do the synchronous timetabling, okay, kalau ada, maksudnya kita buat just once in the fortnight, for example. Alright, so for the weeks that we do asynchronous, how do we monitor the students? So we have to look at the analytics. Alright, we have to see the participation in the scene. That's why in the self-instructional material, you need to have activities, you need to have assessment, okay, formative assessment, so that it can be considered as participation for your students. All right, and then we must obtain feedback from stakeholders, from the students, all right, or from their parents, for example, or from other important stakeholders to improve the delivery of the program outcome. So we must ask the student, okay, did you is the SIM provided by the lecturers okay ke tidak? Alright, can you learn from them, and so on, and how can we improve the SIM, and so on. Okay, do you need people, the lecturers to do the synchronous learning more frequently? Okay, so this need to be done. All right. All right. Okay, so this is some guidelines, okay, on ODL student support service. Okay, so HEP, higher education provider, must offer appropriate orientation. Okay, so let's say you are going to embark on ODL program. Okay, kalau student biasa, okay, we have the orientation, 1 week orientation program, for example. So how do you do that for ODL students? However, I think this won't be a problem anymore because we have gone through this during the COVID-19. Okay, our orientation week have been done online, so you can follow that, how we made available the documentation, the activities, whatever information via online. Okay, so they must have appropriate orientation.
It's 11 o'clock.
Developmental or remedial support to assist all ODL students. Okay, so including new student, incoming student, and student with special needs. All right, so developmental, for example, you don't just assume that your ODL student will be able to access your platform dengan mudah-mudah sajalah. Okay, you don't know them. Okay, you don't know their technical skill, you don't know their internet availability, and so on. So that's why you need a remedial support. Kalau you suddenly you just figure out, you know, they have problem and so on, so how are you going to cater the need of the ODL student? ODL student ada pelbagai ya, kita tak expect sometimes tu, kita ingat dia ada semua but they are not ready. Okay, so yang itu sangat penting. And then students with special need. Okay, special needs mungkin bukan, okay, they must not only physically disabled student, for example, okay, masalah physical. We might have student, okay, sebab when they when they enroll in our course, let's say the student hasn't got interviews, okay, so meaning that your entry requirement doesn't require the program, the students to be interviewed to enroll in the program. Tiba-tiba bila dia masuk, tengok-tengok dia rabun. Alright, rabun. Okay, so what can you do with the student who cannot see properly? They are not blind, but they cannot see clearly. So your SIM, okay, self-instructional material must also consider them. Mungkin the font of the PowerPoint or whatever PDF that you have prepared must be like 4 times bigger and so on. So you must know this. This is student support service for ODL student. All right. So all this clear information, all right, and then different learning challenges and so on. All right, and then non-residential nature of ODL learners also need to be considered. All right, it is very important of the student support services lah for ODL student. All right, and then ODL academic staff. For now, sometimes we just assume that sebab dah melalui COVID-19, our lecturers, our academic staff, biasanya kita anggap okay, dia telah melalui the ODL proses sebab dia telah melalui teaching and learning online semasa COVID-19. However, yang itu pengalaman, apa orang kata, ad hoc punya pengalaman. Alright, mereka mendapat, they have the experience because of the COVID-19. However, okay, for the ODL academic staff, you must have the university or the program or the department must make sure that they are current with their knowledge and skill. Alright, both in their discipline, okay, as well as in their pedagogical, okay, pedagogical, pedagogy, kaedah mengajar, alright, andragogy, adult learning theory, okay, how they teach adult learners, okay, and then technical, okay, katalah buat synchronous learning, suddenly, you know, you cannot connect and so on, you know, suddenly your student said, Doctor, I cannot log in because of this and this, and how you cater, how the academic staff cater the need of the student. All right, so they need to have, they need to be given training, okay, on, especially on technical skills through ODL, okay. And then, yang ini yang saya nak menjawab, siapa tadi? Dr. Nazri katanya yang tentang can the SIM replace the publication? Alright, okay. So mesti ada polisi ya. This particular policy and procedure must be written down in MQAO1. Okay. How do you have? What is your policy in terms of, for example, lecturer dah buat SIM. SIM is not easy to do, alright. They have to maybe record their video, their personal video. They might have to prepare a lot of things. They must design the assessment. They must design the activity so that it can be a very self-directed learning. So it takes time, sometimes more than writing a paper, yeah. So mesti nyatakan, okay, the HEP, okay, the HEP must clearly say in the document what incentive to reward innovation in ODL. Okay, jadi apa kalau mereka buat satu innovation, alright, innovation termasuklah SIM, ya, SIM can be considered as innovation. So apa yang mereka dapat? For example, salary increment, for example, ataupun they will be paid over and above for the SIM, or replacement 2 SIM equal to 1 Scopus publication. Itu saya cakap je lah ya. It is your own policy, your institution policy can discuss with the higher admins and so on, so that it is transparent and the lecturers will know what they will get from their effort in producing, in teaching the ODL program. Sebab ODL program is not as easy as the conventional teaching. Alright, it is not like you put all the resources online and then you teach similar to the conventional program. It is not like that. You must have innovation so that the student will learn. Okay, sometimes you think that you put resources, PowerPoint dah, student buka dia tengok, baca do. So ODL is not like that. Alright, we want an interactive, dan kalau pensyarah itu ada effort, how the institution give incentive to the lecturers. Okay. Alright. So this is the overall ODL system. So the academic staff, this is actually the platform. Platform ni hanya untuk support the academic staff and how the academic staff to the students. Okay, so for academic staff, we need access, we need training, we need content, teach the parent to consider teaching and learning activities, the materials, variety of assessment, and so on. And for the students, you need to have orientation, access, training, innovative teaching and learning, assessment, and analytics to monitor your students. All right, so this is the ODL environment that you need to prepare for your lecturers. Okay, lecturers pun need to be prepared, ya, bukan only the students. And ODL support, we will have, you need to have the help desk satu. Alright, help desk for the students and for the lecturers to minta pertolongan lah, to seek help. Alright, and then help desk also monitor, for example, monitor the platform, platform crash, server hang, and so on. So the help desk will be able to support that. Alright, facilities. Alright, and then what facilities? Facilities untuk ODL is different from the conventional. Facilities for ODL is virtual facilities. Alright, and kalau conventional, you are going to provide the computer lab lah, physical library, you will have student lounge, for example. But how do you provide facilities to ODL students? Ada ke lounge, online lounge for your ODL students? How do you do that? Alright, it is possible. Okay, and then feedback. How do you receive feedback from your students? Okay, ODL support, help desk will help with the feedback. And then security, system assessment, and so on. So let's say you have exam online. All right, so how do you provide security to the exam online system? Do you have e-proctoring? Okay, how do you monitor the vetting process? How do you do the exam online? What is the procedure for exam online? Meaning that, okay, let's say your exam is 2 hours. All right, 2 hours exam. So how do you give time for student to log in? Okay, for example, you need to have measures. Okay, first, student will be given 15 minutes before they log in, before they can access the exam questions. All right, 15 minutes for them to do the declaration and so on. Then after 50 minutes, they will be able to click on the exam paper, and then they will do the exam paper for 2 hours, for example. And then after 2 hours, they will have some time, 45 minutes or half an hour for them to cater the problem of submitting ke whatever lah. Okay, so that particular information need to be clear. Need to be clear on the security. And for example, if you do the vetting online, what is the process of vetting online? Okay, tapi biasanya kalau dalam keadaan biasa, you can do the vetting face to face, kan? Boleh duduk dengan the lecturers and so on, you can do the vetting online. However, if you do the vetting offline, okay, face to face, what is the measures when you upload the exam to the system? Okay, how do you make sure that student cannot hack the system, or somebody else cannot hack the system, or other lecturers will be able to cannot access the question and so on. So that is the documentation that you need to highlight, okay, of the security. So the ODL support bukan hanya technical support, it also the unit exam. For example, the unit exam will prepare the exam unit will prepare the documentation, exam procedure, exam, and so on. How the ODL students can access, and so on. So it's a very comprehensive. All right. So let me just skip this one first because the okay, let me answer. Does the institution or university have to design a specific end user license for the ODL? This may be necessary in order to limit the liability of the university in terms of data breach, also to limit infringement of copyright material and so on. All right. By legal the university. The Kenneth, yes. Okay, meaning at the moment in ODL, we don't require that, but it is advisable for you to do that so that you know it is clear for the lecturers and the students. Okay, so you can do that. And for the program leader, must it be new appointment for ODL? Is it possible the same pursue both conventional and ODL program? Yes, meaning that your Dr. Azrul, meaning that your e-learning coordinator, e-learning coordinator can be also be ODL expert. So as the e-learning coordinator study the requirement of the ODL and so on, and well versed on the ODL requirement, then you're okay. All right. All right, Dr. Nazrin, the question was for Dr. Kenneth. So, Hayati, do we need to have in the program or these subjects of a program? You need to have SIM, Dr. Hayati, meaning that all the subjects need to have SIM. All right. We will check that actually because when you submit the MQAO1, you will also either, for example, if you have the PDF version of the SIM, you need to submit the PDF version, okay? Or if let's say you don't have it in PDF version, during the meetings, the OER meeting, you will see lah, tapi nasib lah kasi, you know, we will. So maybe because you know in a program you have MPU, you have compulsory elective and so on. So mungkin elective you MPU you can use the same SIM with other program and so on. Tapi mostly they require mesti ada lah. Tetapi let's see you are starting, okay, you just started, okay, you baru nak hantar MQAO1. Kemudian your intake will be August 2021. Jadi mungkin you tak prepare lah sampai year 4 punya SIM kan sebab baru nak offer. So the SIM can be only for the first year atau first semester. Kalau dia ambil 3 subjects for the first semester for example, then the 3 subjects you will buat and then after that you can gradually develop this SIM. Okay, so ada tiba-tiba nak ada 100% of the program ada. Kita taklah sekejap itulah kan. Alright. Yes, every topic of every subject under OPL require betul. Alright. It requires SIM but you can graduate the SIM, tetapi kita nak tengok yang first year or first semester should be ada untuk you have prepared. So you know that the SIM it can be used for ODL or not. Dah ada, kita akan check the SIM, kita akan cakap dah, me as an auditor, I will check, okay, whether the resources tu sesuai, whether the assessment sesuai. So, untuk provisional accreditation, At least you kena ada yang first semester so that we can have a look. Alright. 60% of the subjects, at least 60% of the line, meaning that at least 60% of the subjects need to be offered via OD, meaning that the other 40% can be offered via face-to-face. Okay. Alright. 60% of the course in the program. Okay, 60% each for the program, meaning that if in the program you have 100 courses, 60 kena 60 of the out of 100 courses need to be offered via ODL. The can be done face to face. Alright, so saya sebenarnya sudah lihat, saya bukan cara ODL di pusat our School of Distance Education, bukan pensyarah distance School of Distance Education, saya pensyarah School of Education Studies. Alright, so kalau kita sebab penyelesaian e-learning USM, so the system of PJJ di bawah penyelesaian saya juga lah. Alright, so dari aspek pencapaian pelajar, kalau kita tengok di USM, PJJ adalah kita buat PJJ itu berdasarkan part time. Satu, ianya berdasarkan juga program sedia ada. Maksudnya program di pusat pengajian, di sini kita panggil pusat pengajian yang bukan duduk di PJJ dan replicate sama saja. Mereka akan, for example, Bachelor of Management di School of Management akan dapat juga Bachelor of Management di PJJ, sama saja, cuma delivery adalah berlain. Dari segi pencapaian, saya rasa tidak ada masalah dari segi pencapaian. We can see that pencapaiannya hampir sama dengan students yang ada di yang president retired USM, meaning that delivery tidak mengganggu. Satu, the PJJ in USM kaedahnya agak berlainan di mana kita ada intensive. Okay, we have example 60% of the program, 80% of SLT. Okay, remember, 60% of the courses, 80% of the SLT, okay, can be done online, at least, okay. So 20% can be done offline. So in USM, our PJJ have that 20% intensive course, whereby waktu mereka datang intensive course, they will to the lab, with the PT, can jumpa, they meet their lecturers and so on, face to face. So during the intensive week, they are required to come to USM, kena ambil cuti dan datang. So the system in USM, PJJ USM is quite different, but we can't see the difference lah. Dia tak berbeza dari pencapaian. We can see that it is almost the same for both ODL and our resident student. Okay. So itu yang saya jawab ya. Kemudian negatif example of simple that we can do. Okay, hari ni saya tak prepare pula. InsyaAllah saya ada lagi satu session tentang table 4. Tadi baru terfikir, kenapa saya tak share one of the sim. Okay, contoh sim. InsyaAllah sim, kita share one of the sim ya. Dan esok kita akan tengok table 4. Alright. Hari ni rasanya tak ada sim lah. Alright. Okay. Try esok ya. Okay, for a subject to be created in ODL, it need to be 80% of is ODL. No Hidayah, sorry. Kata No Hidayah perlu 80% of SLT ODL. Kali 60% offer ODL, 80% of the student time need to be delivered by ODL. Okay, ini adalah requirement dia lah. Okay. Can we apply for ODL from provisional accreditation or we need to wait for full accreditation? Kalau you using the existing program, you need to wait for the full accreditation. Kalau you duplicate saja the program and then you must have the full accreditation, the program memang dah kena ada apa orang kata, dah di review for full accreditation, panel datang melawat tengok course itu okey semua, baru boleh embark on ODL. Tetapi disebabkan oleh sekarang ada fasa baru di mana you can apply ODL for new program, so why not you apply for ODL for new program. Okay, new program. Program yang sedia ada tapi you ubah sikit so that it will be a new program that you can apply for ODL punya. Saya lah, jadi supaya you tak payah tunggu dia the existing apa namanya program to have a full accreditation. Jadi you ubah sikit macam tu kan, so that it new program lah tapi lebih kurang sama tapi ada sedikit program. Okay, Dr. Jamila, if is developed from program sedia ada, adakah PO mesti sama dengan program sedia ada? Ya, okay, program learning sama tetapi boleh ada perubahan program delivery development sebenarnya tidak banyak berubah, so boleh jadi sama dengan PO sedia ada. Alright, so delivery saja yang berbeza. Program 3 semester, 2 online, conduct via ODL, tetapi semester terakhir student perlu full untuk latihan kereta. Masih boleh dikira sebagai ODL atau tidak? Ya, Dr. Nurul Huda, as long as 60% right? 40% can be done via face-to-face. Saya faham maksudnya yang Hasan kena ada clinical, kena buat practical and so on, so boleh dijalankan as long as ianya tidak melebihi 40% of the courses di offered secara ODL. Okay. Okay, so soalan sebelum saya pergi ke program standard. Ini boleh buka ya. If we dekat online ODL, okay. Jadi ada this particular practice for program accreditation and distance learning. 90 so yang ini saya nak apa difference between dengan certain you have to everyone so saya kata, alright.
Dr. Azidah, your sound is breaking. Maybe line connection.
Betul. Bukan saya punya muka untuk ia membantu. Dia dah nak tengah hari memang line akan macam teruk sikit. Alright. Okay tak saya tutup ni?
Much better.
Alright. Okay. So ODL refer to provision. So yang ini memang saya ambil tadi dari this particular document. Okay. Kemudian I would like to highlight lebih kurang sama lah. Okay. Then in the document remember all MQA program accreditation, we are looking at outcome-based education. So this is your learning outcomes, PLO, program learning outcomes. Your CLO need to have to be able to see the abilities. Okay. The outcomes or abilities should be demonstrated upon completion of educational program. So this is the reference, okay, for OBE. So meaning that when kalau you are doing a new program, so make sure that all the PLO and CLO need to cater the OBE. Alright. And this one is about the experts. Alright. So not only academic expertise in the courses, however, education experts from various disciplines who have been trained, okay, or who have been considered experienced in effective ODL teaching and learning methodologies. So meaning that in your institution, you can have the people from the learning center to help you. Okay, they might not be expert in your area, but they can help. They have experience in effective ODL teaching and learning. Alright, so it is in the document page 5. Kemudian, okay. So for area number 1, okay, kalau dalam dokumen biasa dia tak ada ODL ini. Alright, remember most of us, okay, kalau saya ikut soalan-soalan tadi, kebanyakannya mungkin from non-ODL institution, okay, bukan daripada wawasan, bukan daripada OUM, bukan daripada Al-Madinah International University. Al-Madinah is a ODL, okay, so meaning that the program must be consistent with and supportive of the vision, mission, goal and ODL policy of the HEP. So if your university would like to embark on ODL, mesti ada ODL policy. Kalau tak ada, kena buatlah. Alright, meaning that you must highlight that in the document. The university, the HEP have updated their ODL policy. The ODL policy is whatever in appendix, whatever. So kena ada kena tengok ODL polisi. Saya rasa ianya bukan satu perkara yang susah. It is a tambahan, just additional document to support the mission and goals of the SGP lah. Mungkin menambah polisi of the SGP. So kena tambah sikit tentang ODL polisi, which is saya rasa untuk dalam keadaan sekarang it won't be that hard because you have gone through the online teaching and learning, and we think that ODL should be one of the policy of most of the HCP, so you can actually add extra to that. Alright, and then the program must be considered only after a need assessment. So yang inilah kena buat market survey tadi yang saya nyatakan dari awal. Alright, this standard must be read together with 1.2.2 area 1. Okay, so 6.1.2 in area 6. Alright, so yang ini you must clear. Okay, and then yang lain-lain ni yang saya tidak highlight merah ini yang biasa. Okay, yang biasa yang sama macam the conventional program. Okay, alright, so must consult stakeholder. You mesti tahu keperluan. Alright, stakeholder juga from the other experts dalam yang pakar dalam bidang. Okay, other experts who are experts in the program. Okay, but outside the like external examiner, you must consult them to ask them whether this program is suitable to be delivered via ODL. Maksudnya kena adalah orang luar yang setuju bahawasanya program ini boleh dikendalikan secara ODL and also ODL expert lah. Jadi mungkin seorang ODL expert, mungkin seorang expert in the program. Okay, tapi dia mesti juga bagi pandangan tentang whether it is suitable for the program to be conducted online. Okay. Okay. This one 1.2.25 nampak tak di situ? Okay. Satu, department must establish mechanism or system where all forms of interaction and delivery of integrated. Bukan sahaja, okay, it is not only your online learning platform, however, a system whereby your student will be able to access their marks, student will be able to see their progress and so on. So integrated mechanism or system. Alright, so I think there will be no problem as well because I think most of us will have this integrated system for our institution. And then the program must involve provision and appropriate self-instructional material for self-directed learners. Okay, must have. Jadi memang wajib ada the SIM. Okay, and then there must be a unit or section devoted to design and development of SIM. Okay, mesti ada unit or section yang menyokong ya, ataupun memang ada seorang instructional designer yang bantu pensyarah menyediakan SIM ini. Okay, so yang ini semua ada dalam dokumen COPA ODL, which is yang saya terangkan tadi, dia ada di sini. Whatever yang saya terangkan memang berasal daripada di COPA. So untuk keterangan yang lebih terperinci, you can refer to this particular document. Alright, okay. See, it mentioned about copyright law and best practices must be in place and observed, meaning that you kena decide lah, okay, whether you are going to use OER or you are going to put copyrighted materials and so on. So you sometimes it can be decided by the lecturer. Kadang-kadang lecturer they are not comfortable to put their resources as OER. Okay, we can encourage but we cannot paksa dia letak bahan dia secara OER. So you must have some guidelines ke, some information that help the lecturers to, okay, if you like to do put your to include your materials as an OER, what you should do. Okay, if you would like to copyright your materials, what you should do. Okay, so this is highlighted in this particular document. All right. And then the department must decide how do you interact. Okay, how can lecturers and instructors can interact together. Okay, synchronous ke, asynchronous ke, or combination of. Alright, so you kena dah tahu dah. Memang ada arahan pada pensyarah. You boleh buat macam ni, you tak boleh buat macam ni supaya pensyarah clear. Alright, but you can ada guideline but be flexible. Okay. Jadi kalau ada schedule face-to-face session, alright, kena ada jadual lah. Alright. And then it can be done physically or electronically mediated. Okay. Yang ini kena ada full-time program leader or coordinator. So yang ini pakar dalam bidang. Tapi kalau dia ada pengetahuan dalam ODL, is an advantage. Okay, this is area 1 and then area 2. Okay. Remember, policy which govern online assessment must be put in place. Okay, including academic integrity moderation. Okay, by a qualified moderator and progression. In addition, specialized needs have to be taken into consideration to cater for students that may be distributed over various geographical location due to the nature of ODL. Jadi, alright, it is important. Let's say you are in Sabah, the program is in UMS, then the students are in Semenanjung, for example. So how are you going to do exams? Now, for example, in USM, we are doing exam online with proctoring, for example, all right? And then, so when we do the proctoring, so it is much more easier, but the proctoring is expensive. Okay, if let's say just one program yang nak buat ODL and do the exam online, mungkin tidak apa orang kata, it is not advisable to use proctoring lah. Sebab kalau beli sikit dia jadi mahal lah kan, lagi mahal. So maybe you might consider, okay, the ODL student, okay, macam UTM what they did during this particular examination, they contact the universities, university awam, you know, to help them with monitoring their students taking exam. They can take the exam in the UAs, other university awam punya lab and so on. So you must have the policy what you are going to do to cater, okay, to govern the online assessment. Alright, so mesti ada step by step. Kalau tak boleh buat macam ni, macam mana online assessment akan dilakukan? Mungkin exam tidak dilakukan secara, kalau you are not doing online exam, so how are you going to do that? Okay, and then if let's say you are doing exam exam online without proctoring, how do you know that the students, the ODL students who are taking the exam is the real students who are learning with you? Alright, the lecturer pun kadang-kadang tak kenal student, jumpa dalam online saja. So how do you make sure that the students are really the person who has been studying in UMS, for example? So mesti ada prosedur macam mana you identify. That's why macam USM we use the proctoring, because kalau proctoring kita masuk, kita akan nampak masuk, mereka akan tunjuk muka dulu, then dia kena letak the student identification dulu, and then ada prosedur-prosedur tertentu, baru dia boleh access the paper kan. So mungkinlah itu boleh dilakukan, tapi kalau tak guna proctoring, how do you recognize the student? So these are the things that you need to consider lah for online assessment. Okay, kena pastikan pelajar yang hadir exam itu adalah pelajar kita lah. Alright. So there must be a policies and mechanism. Alright, for the security, credibility and so on lah. Jadi sebab, okay, the assessment of ODL student adalah berlainan. For example, if they are doing presentation, alright, so how do you the presentation, tapi tak perlulah terlalu apa orang kata detail sangat the guidelines, tetapi at least you make sure that the assessment is reliable, okay, consistent, okay, fair actually. Fair for the students, fair the lecturers and so on. Remember, when you embark on ODS, saya rasa kebanyakan pencarah dah melalui dalam 1-2 semester ini, when we teach online, the burden of teaching online is actually much more than teaching face to face. Okay, you kena prepare the sim and so on kan. Jadi mungkin kita kena ada polisi tentang perkara tersebut. Alright. Then yang lain yang saya tidak highlightkan warna merah, kotak merah ini sebenarnya sama macam the kopa biasa ya. Sekejap saya tengok soalan. Can we do face-to-face final exam? Yes, you can, Dr. Mawani. Meaning that sebab kita ada remember just now we have 80% of student SLT online. Jadi kita ada 20% yang tidak online kan. Jadi the SLT covers je teaching and learning as well as assessment. Jadi bolehlah buat kalau exam tak nak buat online, you would like to do it face to face, so tak ada masalah. Boleh saja dilakukan sebab ianya tidak melebihi 20%. Okay. Kemudian student support services. Okay, satu perkara, okay, one thing that you need to remember, if let's say in the conventional class, okay, conventional non-ODL program, kita kena provide the co-curricular activity kan. Alright, so jadi untuk ODL student macam mana pula? So you need to highlight. Biasanya kalau ODL for adult learners for example and they are doing part time, kita faham bahawasanya mungkin mereka tidak dapat mengikuti co-curricular activities mengikut yang disediakan oleh HEP. However, you can also organize co-curricular activities for the student. Mungkin it is done online ke, mungkin nak buat pertandingan chess online ke, whatever lah kan. Kalau boleh, it is advisable for you to do that. Tapi kadang-kadang kita faham juga sebab mereka adalah ODL student. Kalau boleh, why not buat supaya mereka ada sense of belonging to the university. Alright. Okay. And then satu perkara, ODL learners may face specific different learning challenges. So they value immediate and personal interaction with academic staff through the online platform. That's why sometimes I encourage lecturers to have chat online. Okay, chat dekat dalam I think Smart UMS pun boleh chat. You can chat, you can arrange, okay. Ataupun the support service pun boleh buat, okay, chat session with lecturers. Pukul berapa, and then they can chat, ask questions. Either the staff, the academic staff do it for their own course, or the support service, okay, can do for for general query of the student, okay. Chat service for student ataupun memang dekat dalam website memang ada bot, okay. Dah di type, okay, ada satu chat box kat situ. Alright, if you have any question, please ask here. Our team will reply to you immediately. Macam yang kalau ada DG telecommunication kan, ataupun baru-baru ni saya ada masalah dengan Ninja Van, package saya tak sampai-sampai setelah 2 minggu. So saya pergi website dia, ada satu chat box, I just type dekat situ dan akhirnya dia jawab dan akhirnya selesaikan masalah saya. Macam itulah. So ada salah seorang technical teams yang bertugas untuk menjawab soalan di website. So it is, you know, kalau boleh patut ada sedemikian so that you can help the ODL learners. Okay, jadi ianya sebenarnya tidaklah mudah untuk menjalankan the ODL. Right, let me just have a look at the question. Can we do 20% for fieldwork? Yes, you can. It's up to you. Okay, nanti for table 4, kita akan tengok the table 4 itself dan macam mana you nak bahagikan table 4 tersebut. Jadi tak semestinya you nak buat exam online ke ataupun you nak buat the class whole class online ke. So ianya bergantung kepada table 4 yang you sediakan that you prepared for your course. So if let's see the 20% will be fieldwork, then do it. For example, people who are in USM, we have the School of Housing, Building and Planning, whereby we have architecture course, we have interior design course, whereby they need to have fieldwork, they need to be in the studio, for example, so they might need some interaction face-to-face. So they can arrange, the academic staff can arrange the table 4 so that it can cater the 20% to be face-to-face. Jadi dia boleh capai the CLO for the course. Okay, untuk kursus saja. Konvensional 8 kali pertemuan dengan pelajar. Jika 2 kali pertemuan pertama, 2 kali pelajar face-to-face dan sebagainya, and blended, boleh ke? Kalau ia mencapai, sebab kita tak pasti kursus itu adalah 140 credits ke ataupun 120 credits ke. Alright, kalau kita kata 8 kali pertemuan, 2 kali pertemuan pertama, 2 kali pertemuan akhir adalah face to face. Kalau ianya, jawapan saya adalah Dr. Zaki, if the pertemuan pelajar adalah cukup, bukan cukup, maksudnya hanya 20% itu adalah face to face dan the other 80% adalah ODL, tak kisah macam mana you nak arrange. Meaning that you boleh arrange awal, akhir, tengah, it's up to you. Alright. So 56 kredit out of credit. Jadi kena kira lah. 50, kalau 56 kredit out of 120 kredit, saya rasa terlebih tu. So you kena kira 20% out of the 120 kredit should be online. Can be face to face. But 80% should be online. So dia kena kira ikut kredit. Alright. Satu perkara, one thing about ODL, alright, kalau program biasa, we usually follow the normal standards lah kan. Okay, kalau nak masuk universiti awam, kita ikut UPU and so on lah, right, the normal standards. Tapi untuk program ODL, you can consider a clear criteria, kena tulis, kena nyatakan clear criteria and process for student selection and including student from APEL. Okay, jadi APEL, student with pengalaman, dia ada APEL A and APEL C, APEL A and APEL C. Okay, jadi kena consider dan kena nyatakan kalau student through APEL C, apakah kriteria dia and so on. Okay, kena ada. Alright, biasanya ODL memang kita consider students with previous experience and we are looking at adult learners yang dah ada experience dan sebagainya. Jadi kena ada requirement lah. For example, kalau student dia adalah seorang pembantu perubatan, for example lah, dia nak masuk, dia nak ada degree in whatever. So requirement dia dan apakah experience yang perlu ada untuk dia mencapai APEL A and APEL C. Okay. So kena clear tu. Alright. So yang ini saya ada mention. Okay, Dr. Zaki menyatakan APEL tadi ada ke ni? Ada ya? Ada standard untuk Apple A and Apple C, boleh Google, dan saya rasa saya check ada semalam saya tengok ada taklimat Apple A and Apple C by MQA kalau tak silap saya. Ni hari terbuka Apple from MQA. Hari terbuka ini dilakukan pada hari Khamis ini. Okey, boleh take note ya. 18 Februari 2021, 9 pagi hingga 1 tengah hari via Zoom. So ada taklimat Apple Q, Apple A, Apple C. So ada tiga Apple yang akan diterangkan tentang Apple ni. So bolehlah hadir untuk mengetahui bahawa tentang Apple. Okey, jadi anda boleh tahu lebih lanjut macam mana nak letak kriteria for Apple ya dalam your punya program ODL nanti. Okey, so kemudian saya teruskan, the department must offer appropriate orientation. Okey, yang ni saya dah nyatakan tadi. Alright. So kemudian kena offer support service for non-residential nature. Okey, kemudian juga an effective induction to the program must be made available to new student to promote self-directed learning. Okay. Satu perkara yang saya ingin sarankan, I would like to advise, during the induction program, for example, alright, you must highlight the PPT, the program coordinator must highlight that the ODL is supposed to be a very self-directed learning or self-managed learning. Okay, jadi mungkin ada guidelines how to be a self-directed learner. Mungkin ada expert yang boleh bantu dalam sediakan guide supaya pelajar jelas bahawasanya they are learning at their own time, okay, and anywhere. Alright. However, they must, for ODL program, they must follow the academic program calendar as well lah. Jadi mungkin ada guide di situ how to be a self-directed learner. That will be helpful lah for the students. Kemudian, okay, satu perkara bila kita tengok di sini, it start from here. HEP is expected to search for and appoint a best suited candidates to serve its programs in open, transparent and fair manner. Ya? Jadi maksudnya, this is academic staff. For academic staff, okay, katalah you dah ada program yang you dah offer. You have offered the program before, and then you are duplicating the program for ODL. Okay. It is okay for you to the same staff, academic staff to teach the program, the new ODL program. However, remember the older ODL teaching is different from the traditional face-to-face teaching. Jadi, as an auditor, we expect your lecturers, your academic staff that is being appointed to teach the ODL program should have ample knowledge and skill to do ODL. Okay, they might be expert in their area, in their expertise, however they might not be experts in ODL. Tapi selepas COVID-19 ni saya rasa ini kurang masalah sikit lah tentang perkara ini. Tapi kita mesti tahu bahawasanya ianya sangat perlu, so mungkin perlu highlight that you have actually trained the lecturers, for example, dan sebagainya lah. Okay. So, saya tengok soalan dulu. Masa pun dah nak tamat. Sekejap. Jika calon ada Apple T6, apa lagi syarat lain untuk dia memohon masuk universiti? Saya rasa soalan ni Dr. Rosri boleh hadir dan tanya kepada dalam hari terbuka Apple ni. Saya pun tak berapa pasti sebenarnya sebab dia ada different appel, ada different requirement. Jadi saya tak pasti apa yang diperlukan untuk appel T6 ni. Alright. Jadi perlu tanya di sana lah. Tapi kalau kita ikut ya, kalau dalam pengetahuan saya, contohnya kalau pernah dengar nama Izzaz Azhar, okay, dia sekarang ada master tapi dia sebenarnya tak pergi sekolah pun. Alright. Dia memang tak pergi sekolah, mungkin sekolah dia sekolah rendah ke sekolah menengah tapi dia tak habis sekolah, and then dia masuk degree from the tak ada degree, tak ada SPM, dan dia boleh masuk degree dan dia ambil MBA jugalah. So memang boleh perkara tersebut, tetapi you all kena clear the requirement of that. Jika calon MPQL ni guru-guru besar ke, mereka yang ikut kursus kepengetahuan dan guru besar, ini apples dan apa? Yang ini kena tanya hari Khamis ya. Yang ni saya tak boleh nak jawab sebab saya pun tak pasti. Alright, di luar bidang saya. Appel ni kita setkan atau sudah ada standard? Sudah ada standard, okay, tetapi you boleh macam nak cakap, you boleh tengok you punya kriteria kemasukan, okay, what prerequisite yang you perlukan untuk student tersebut, then you boleh buat based on appel. Alright, kadang-kadang sebab different course need different prerequisite. For example, kalau dia nak masuk course architecture, okay, degree in architecture, dan sebelum ini dia hanyalah draftman yang dia masuk je sebagai pelukis pelan tanpa sijil whatever, okay, dan dia masuk sebab dia pandai melukis, for example, then mungkin you boleh set kriteria tertentu tentang perkara tersebut, okay. So it depends on the program itself, okay. Jadi yang appel ni tanya hari Khamis dekat hari terbuka appel lah ya. Okay, so jadi saya ingin highlightkan, okay, satu, sebab masa pun dah nak tamat, academic staff sangat penting di-highlightkan tentang dia pedagogical and pedagogical technical skill related to ODL. Ya, kalau dia biasa mengajar konvensional, tidak semestinya dia tahu mengajar ODL. For area 4, okay, ingat area 4 recruitment and management, kalau ada ODL punya program, make sure that kalau nak untuk that particular program, kalau ada buka appointments for new staff, pastikan kalau boleh dapatkan with ODL experiences. Okay. Kemudian staff ratio ni, okay, tengok ya. Kalau biasa, kalau
It's 12 o'clock.
Kalau konvensional, kita dapati bahawasanya ada certain 1:20, for example, seorang pengacara kepada 20. Tetapi boleh diconsider disebabkan oleh uniqueness and the flexibility of the ODL, mungkin you boleh increase. Ataupun increase the ratio lah, meaning that 1:30. Ataupun mungkin disebabkan oleh unik sangat, banyak masalah, okay, meaning that you can reduce 1 to 10. So it's up to the uniqueness and flexibility of the ODL ya. Alright. Okay, so yang ini, okay, yang ni nanti you boleh tengok lah. So saya rasa there is academic staff yang dalam educational resources, yang ni mesti disediakan, infrastructure, physical learning resources and so on. Alright. Kemudian physical saya dah terangkan tadi, ianya berbeza, so kena consider that, okay, bila writing MQAO1 lah, okay, soalan-soalan dia ni perlu dijawab, okay. So saya rasa saya skip ni, area 5 semua-semua you all boleh baca di sini, tapi sebenarnya tambahan dalam COPA biasa, COPA konvensional kepada COPA ODL adalah sama kecuali certain part. Alright. Saya nak tunjuk sekali lalu, alright, tentang differentiate. Okay, so yang ini ada satu Word document. You boleh cari this one, mapping. Kalau sesiapa, kalau ada department yang ada PTJ ataupun PPT yang ingin nak buat dah MQA1 ini, you boleh refer to this particular document, pergi Google saja Code of Practice, and then nama dia adalah Mapping of Section 2, 3 and 6 of COPA ODL Second Edition. Alright, boleh cari, boleh Google. Alright, yang ini adalah sangat bagus untuk membantu you all dalam menjawab soalan-soalan. When you fill in the MQA01, okay, the main thing is section 2, 3 and 6 dia kena judge together lah. Alright. So dalam sini ada nyatakan. Alright. Okay. So yang ini area 1, program development and delivery sama. Okay, macam biasa. So yang ini borang-borang ni semua perlu diisi lah. Macam biasa, macam conventional punya program. Tapi yang okay, so 1.2.5 ada soalan di sini, ada penerangan tentang how you answer the questions and then evaluate the appropriateness of the, yang ini section 2, section 3 and section 6 preparation. Jadi you boleh refer to this document, help you. Soalan ni sebenarnya saya dah bincang sendiri, okay, and then this is the jawapan saya kasi, so that you will be able to write to make sure that your document is clear, comprehensive and easy for the MQA auditor to evaluate. Alright, jadi orang yang macam saya evaluate, saya biasanya akan evaluate kalau datang science, health science punya ODL provisional application, kalau dapat kat saya akan dipanggil, contohnya lah mereka akan panggil seorang pakar ODL untuk tengok. Alright, jadi dia pakar konten akan tengok konten, saya akan tengok the ODL lah. Jadi saya akan tengok perkara-perkara ni lah, SIM ada ke tidak, alright, how student oriented, you do the orientation, bagaimana you do the assessment, how you vet the questions and so on. Other than that, okay, other than apa yang saya sentuh tadi adalah tugas the auditor bahagian program, okay, pakar dalam program tersebut, okay, alright. So saya rasa itu saja nak highlight. Jadi so to end with my presentation, okay, jadi kalau you all nak start with ODL, kena alignment lah, kena do the ODL alignment. PLO, CLO ini akan rujuk kepada PLO, CLO yang biasa, tetapi you must include some element of ODL inside that, alright, and then kena ready, you kena ready with the system and all that, kena reliable juga, and then you will be able to connect with your students, staff, academic, and also the connection between academic staff, support staff and students are reliable. Okay, so saya rasa itu saja untuk hari ini. Okay, so let me just tengok kod ada soalan lain, tak ada dah ya. Alright, Puan Salmi dah share the document COPA tu di situ. Alright, okay, so saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua kerana bear with me for the 3 hours. So hopefully ianya bermanfaatlah kepada semua. InsyaAllah saya harap ianya telah membantu anda semua. Kalau ada soalan, saya terlupa nak letak saya punya. So saya punya email adalah azidah@usm.my. Okay. Jadi kalau ada apa-apa pertanyaan yang terbuku di hati dan tidak terjawab pada hari ini, bolehlah email kepada saya untuk clarification. InsyaAllah kita jumpa lagi esok untuk table 4. Alright, esok saya try lah tengok SIM, contoh SIM untuk dipersembahkan. Alright, so terima kasih banyak-banyak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, thank you Dr. Azidah. Finally, we have reached the finish line for today's session. It is a very an interesting 3-hour session. Truly, time flies quickly when you are enjoying the moment. So many doubts have been cleared or answered by the speaker. From this session, I can say that many are interested in developing an ODL program, be it from UMS or outside UMS itself. Okay, with regards slides and the recorded version of this session, we will share the materials through your director of the Academic Excellence Center, and we will ask them to share widely throughout your university. For UMS, we will share the materials through the Deputy Dean of Academic. Okay. On behalf of UMS, I would like to say thank you to our guest speaker for making her time today, teach us on on the preparation of MQAO1 for ODL program. Despite her busy schedule, she takes the challenge by accepting our invitation and be with us. And indeed, this topic attracts many participants. Don't forget, tomorrow, Dr. Azidah will still be with us with new other topic of preparation of Table 4 for ODL program. If you have any other question, as Dr. Azidah mentioned, you can directly email to her, and if she has time, she will give the feedback to you. With that, see you tomorrow, and have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.
Dr. Azidah, terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Thank you very much, Sifu.
Prof.
Terima kasih, Prof. Jumpa lagi besok, insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah. Pangkat saya tu.
Terima kasih, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. See you tomorrow.
InsyaAllah.
Terima kasih, Prof. Jumpa lagi esok, insyaAllah.
Terima kasih, Prof. Nanti PNF ya.
Ya.
Banyak. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Azidah.
Ya, saya. Apa yang cakap tu?
Salmi, Tuan Salmi.
Ya, Salmi. Dengar tak? Dengar tak, Salmi? Ni nak cakap ke?
Maybe her line connection is not good.
Saya boleh dengar you all, tapi you all tak dengar saya kot.
Dengar Dr. Azidah.
Dan Salmi kot.
Ya, line ni. Maybe type. Yeah.
Type je. Okay. Message je lah senang, Salmi. WhatsApp je lah. Okay. Alright, saya keluar dulu. Nanti Salmi just WhatsApp saya. Alright, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Azidah. Thank you very much.
Okay, see you tomorrow, insyaAllah.
See you.